bugging why we're single. Say whatever you want, it'll all be cut out. Not everything you say, actually. Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Overflow. We have three very wonderful guests with us. We're going to talk a little bit about masters, applying to masters, honors, research, everything.
Hi, I'm Jiayin and I'm a first-year master's student here at UBC studying computer science.
Hello, I'm Irmak. I'm a sixth-year undergraduate computer science student at UBC, doing a directed studies and an independent research study.
And hi, I'm Kim. I'm in my fifth year of computer science at UBC and I'm in the honors stream.
We're also going to be making stuff using air-dried clay. While we get started, do you want to talk a little bit about what research you're doing and how your master's is going so far?
Yeah, so the master's program here at UBC is a research-based one, and I'm working with three professors. Two of them are systems professors, and one of them is a machine learning professor. So my research area is in systems for machine learning, like broadly speaking, and more specifically, it's so within machine learning, there's this area called test time adaptation, and that's the area that the machine learning professor works on. And so we're helping to design, I guess, better systems to support that and help make it more efficient so we can deploy it in the real world.
What is test time adaptation?
Okay, so in machine learning, you train a model and then you deploy it, and your model does not change. So with test time adaptation, given live data, the model adapts to your live data. And now the problem is at test time, which is during deployment, you don't have the actual labels available. So instead of the loss that you train on, adapt to, is an unsupervised loss, which is entropy, instead of, I guess, the loss from your prediction. And so one of the problems of this test time adaptation is because now you're also doing this kind of training-like step that adds a lot of latency. So if you're trying to deploy this in like a latency-sensitive situation, you cannot, it's not very practical. So this is where my systems kind of perspective comes in, which is what if instead of having one process where you run an inference and then you adapt, you have two processes, one that does just the inference and then one that does the adapting. And you have the two processes communicate with each other, so that way you can maintain your, I guess, latency requirements and still be able to adapt your model.
Oh, that's
Does
so
that make
cool.
sense?
Yeah.
Another thing that I'm also looking into is, because you're doing this training step, actually that requires storing, so in neural networks you will have to store your activations to compute the gradient. If your model is big, that could be quite a big memory cost there. So how can I leverage, I guess, sparsity, which is maybe not all of the activations are useful or necessary, or which ones are actually the ones we want to keep. Doing some kind of that to basically compress and minimize the memory usage. So again, we can make that much more practical and we can deploy it in the real world. So my end goal is to be able to actually deploy this and maybe even in the future work with professors from other departments to put this into use.
That's so cool.
Yeah. For me, one of the researches I'm doing is a directed studies, so that's half research, I would say, and half creating a project. and that's focused on doing a RAG extended LLM for the Department of Computer Science at UBC. What I focus on is how do we fine-tune LLMs, how do we optimize the process of retrieval in a way that we can rely on the information that is being retrieved. So our end goal is also hopefully making this a deployed product, at least for maybe faculty testing. Like we want to see potential use cases of this and how people interact with it. But that one is half research, half applied, I would say. Another initiative is a lot more focused on research, and that's on semantic consistency in large language models. So both of what I have going on right now are signaling towards the direction of natural language processing. And this second initiative is about benchmarking LLMs in more human-like ways. So basically, consistency is something we want to be seeing in these large language models. If I ask a question and then paraphrase the question to ask the same thing in meaning, but just use different words, I still want to see the same answer because I ask the same question in meaning. And another approach under evaluating semantic consistency in LLMs is when I re-ask the same exact question without paraphrasing, then do I get the same exact answer? And so it consists of mechanisms that evaluate semantic similarity among the prompt and the outputs or the different type of outputs. And the current gap we are trying to address is the lack of research on this topic in free-form text. So a lot of the existing work focuses on short answer questions or multiple choice questions, which don't fully reflect the usage of large language models. And we're trying to look into two things specifically. One, can we design metrics that align as close as possible with human annotator metrics? For example, when we have a lot of data of humans that say this sentence is semantically consistent with this, how can we create combinations of our existing metrics to align with that the most? And another area is how do we make it more accessible for this research to be applied to free-form text? Currently, you need a lot of compute power to generate many multiple outputs of a long paragraph output from the LLM. So you need like 5 different paragraphs outputted from the LLM to do one semantic consistency, like data comparison. So it costs a lot to do those multi-turn prompts, especially when the outputs require a lot of tokens. And we're looking into ways if we can use existing data to predict semantic consistency and therefore remove the prerequisite of multi-turn prompting the LLM in a way that requires a lot of compute.
So cool.
Very cool. All right, so from my experience, like I mentioned, I'm in the honors program. So kind of what that looks like is, I think you apply for the honors program in like your first or second year, whenever you declare your major. And then for your third year, you kind of explore like different research areas that you want to look into. And then in your final year, which I'm in, you start working with a professor. So the work that I'm doing, I'm working with a networking professor, and we specifically look at internet censorship. So a lot of his previous research had to do with looking at the Iranian firewall and the Chinese firewall. And essentially it's a lot of probing of the entire internet and seeing what domains are being blocked and how often that changes over time. So in those research studies, they look at like DNS mechanisms, HTTPS, and blocking mechanisms over QUIC. But at least for myself, I'm going to be comparing different DNS resolvers and looking at how they compare in terms of blocking malicious websites, how quickly they're able to pick up on malicious websites, as well as some of these resolvers specifically say that they are able to block like some adult content. So some families don't want their children to be able to reach specific sites. So these resolvers provide a service where they say, oh, like if you use our DNS resolver, you won't be able to access it. But a lot of these companies that offer these services, it's very much black box intellectual property. So no one actually knows how these mechanisms work. So we'll just be doing some probing to see what is actually being blocked and how that changes.
Ooh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, everyone's doing such cool work. Whoa.
And you can too.
Yes.
What does everyone want to make?
I started making a pig.
I wanted
are
to
you
make a pig, and then I couldn't do it, so I just made snowman.
It's a big snowman.
It's a big snowman.
snowman.
That's why I took the pig.
Oh, I was trying to make a ring holder that
Oh.
in the shape of a tree, and it looks like a little chicken claw right now. So
I think once it dries.
Yeah,
Thank
it's pretty
you.
good.
Yeah.
Thank
What
you.
do you make it?
I have no idea.
But yeah, I'm just curious, like how you got started in research. Like how did you find, especially like finding your first supervisor? I feel like is normally a tough process, especially if people have like no prior research experience. So how do you suggest like approaching professors and like finding what area or like what niche research topic you want to look into?
In the honors program, you kind of get like insight into what research would look like in your third year, where you go to a lot of something called distinguished lecture series, where professors from different universities or researchers, like industry researchers, will come to campus and they deliver a talk about what they do.
By the way, that's open to all students.
Yeah, it's
So
available to everyone.
you don't need to be in the honors to go. And they just had one last Thursday. They had one 2 weeks ago again. And just look up Distinguished Lecture Series, and they invite usually like top researchers.
Is it open to all years?
Yeah,
Yeah,
anyone can
anyone.
go.
Oh.
Yeah.
They don't check anything.
Yeah.
Even like majors?
Yeah,
Anyone.
Oh my god, that's
Because a lot of
cool.
times they also maybe invite someone that does work in across disciplines. So
Oh,
other
wait,
disciplines.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah,
Same,
that's
by the
very
way.
Cool.
But at least for myself, when I was looking for a supervisor, it was a pretty new experience for myself since it was like my first one. So it's a little bit intimidating, like the process of trying to find a supervisor. But essentially, like I had a general idea. I either wanted to do like a networking research topic or a systems research topic. So I was looking at the different labs within the computer science department, and then was specifically looking at the Systopia lab, and then I found a list of like the researchers there, and basically just cold emailed a bunch of professors. One of them I actually had for a previous class, 313, but the rest like I had never met before. One thing to know is like I feel like professors like are interested in working with students, and like they are looking to collaborate. So don't be afraid that like you'll reach out and they'll be like, why would you even think of working with me? Because like that's 100% like not what they're thinking. Like everyone I've talked to is super nice, and they're like super encouraging. And if they weren't able to help me with my thesis, they pointed me to another person that they think would be interested in working with me. Don't be intimidated with sending out cold emails and everything. They're happy to work with students.
What
Yeah.
about your experiences getting like your first supervisor?
Me?
What was that like? Yeah.
Oh, like Systopia Lab. It seemed really chill and cool. So, and of course Margot. I really liked Margot and respected her as like a kind of role model. So I was like, maybe I'll just start there. So, I just went every week to their reading group. So this is another thing, which is these labs, usually they all have reading groups, which is open to almost anyone. So I went every week for a few months, and through the reading group, I was able to meet some grad students, and so I had them help me and tell me all about research.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, like, once you approach someone, or like, if you even get a supervisor, like, is it normally, do you like interview, or do you just like
Depends
start talking?
on the
Okay.
supervisor. There are 3 ways to get started with research that are much more I guess, systematic. First is directed studies. You reach out to a prof and say, I want to do a directed studies. And then second is every summer there's a internship, USRA, subsidized by the Canadian government. So every summer these professors, they hire interns, undergraduate interns. That's another very good opportunity that you should definitely take advantage of. And then third is actually as an undergrad you can take grad courses. So you're allowed to take 2 graduate courses to count as your graduation credits, like count as your elective credits.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And the good thing about these grad courses are it's much smaller. You read papers, most of them you read papers, and you do a research project. And a lot of times these more research-oriented professors, they are more focused on grad courses. So that's what I did, and that's kind of how I found my current professor. One of my current professors was through a grad course. And it's the same price as your undergrad.
My experience with that was I was trying to take a grad course for the beginning of this term, and the professor looked at my past courses, and there was a requirement of that I hadn't completed. I took an alternate course. I took 330 instead of 340, and 340 was one of the prerequisites. And the professor told me that he would be able to help me if the class has space, of course, and it wasn't as direct for me because he just wanted to make sure that I knew everything I needed to know before starting the course so that I could take the most out of it, which totally makes sense. I ended up not pursuing that path at the end, but if you're interested in taking a grad course, I think something that would be helpful is to look at the prerequisites in advance so you can complete your undergraduate electives based on that.
I tried to make a pizza, and then I was like, is the dough this color? No, right?
No,
It's not like this brown.
Is it like
closer
the
to that
vegan
color?
not the
Yellow.
yellow?
The yellow is the cheese, isn't it?
Why can't you make the cheese orange?
Wait, what?
Like the dough yellow and the cheese orange, right? Like
What
that's
if you
like that.
mix the brown and I don't know how to do it, actually forgot that.
Yeah, I didn't want to mix things, but like basically I just have made no progress.
Wait, there's no hair though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no face to it.
It's like, my tree is so cute.
Thank you. I made a little tree that's definitely not gonna hold my wrist. So
Wait, it's so cute though. It might be.
yeah, maybe.
I don't think you can see it. I'm gonna let it. It's so cute.
Okay, it's not standing up straight on my hand, but you guys get the point. Something.
We'll zoom in. I find it. My very blurry laptop.
Both of my initiatives going on right now are a month old, so I recently went through the pipeline of cold emailing a bunch of people. For directed studies, what I found the most helpful was having a repository that is ready to go to become something bigger scale. I think when me and my project partner pulled up to the room with something really organized and well documented, it gave more confidence to the professor that she will be able to keep up with our progress a lot more easier. She won't have as much load on her shoulders in terms of organizing us. So I think essentially having proof of the fact that we can be resourceful and we can move forward with the least amount of supervision was a helpful element in securing that position for us.
I know, Irmak, you're applying to like master's programs. I was wondering if you want to talk a little bit about what the process for that has been like.
Yes, absolutely.
And like what you would recommend people to get started with.
Yes. I started off by making a list of schools that I would like to go, and there were many factors that helped with that. So which country it's in, whether it's in a city I would be happy living in for 2 years, whether it has a specific lab on the area I'm applying to, which you don't have to have fully figured out, but they care if you look into their labs and professors and write that on your statement of intent. Another one was, are there professors that are hiring at the moment? Because sometimes you look into some people's works and they really resonate with you, but then you go to their personal website and they say, I'm no longer looking for master's students. So that was one of the initial steps I did as well. And this might sound like you have to have it like figured out in advance. You don't. It like falls into place as you go. I literally had no idea what I was doing when I like started going on the websites initially. And then I, of course, look into stipend and also, very importantly, look into whether they're thesis-based or course-based. I just made a gigantic spreadsheet taking note of tuitions, type of path, and the labs that are available, how much it would cost, and started eliminating schools that would either cost too much or were located in cities that I wouldn't be happy living in or didn't have labs that resonated with my work. And doing so, I started with 25 schools or something, and then now I'm at around 6. I also looked into how long the master's takes to complete. Once I did the elimination and I'm left with only 6 schools, it's a lot more manageable. It looks like a mountain of work and can be really overwhelming. I sometimes wake up and start doing master's application related tasks and get really stressed. But yeah, one step at a time. I noticed some schools have a different timeline if you're applying for a scholarship, especially scholarships in the US that are very large scale and have multiple interview processes and cover a lot of the tuition. Those close applications quite early, like mid-October. And when you're applying for a scholarship like that, you also have to complete your master's application at the same time as the scholarship application. So your reference letters and everything need to be sorted out. But if you're not applying for a specific scholarship like this, I've observed that most deadlines are around the beginning of December or middle of December. And then once I have the spreadsheet, the next step for me was to make a spreadsheet for my references. I let them know in advance that I'm going to be applying to masters and would love their reference letter, and made a list of schools, what they're looking for in the reference letter, and whether they should expect to receive an email from them. So basically a lot of spreadsheets, and I think it's really important to make life easier for reference letter people who will provide those letters for you, because they're going to be doing you a favor by sparing their personal time to write something nice about you. Yesterday I also attended the info session of UBC's grad school applications, and one of the feedback I took was while reaching out to professors in advance. So in other schools, especially if you have a specific professor you want to work with, and if you're mentioning that on your statement of purpose, a statement of intent, it's nice to send them an email and be like, yo, I'm applying and I want to work with you. And someone in the info session mentioned writing a cover letter. They probably receive a lot of emails, and it's not fun when they open up an email and see 5 paragraphs, and what I want to communicate is why I want to work with them, and I do need a couple paragraphs to communicate that. So maybe I might do something like that while reaching out to professors. And yeah, besides that, I'm also looking into things that are non-academic in other schools that I can contribute to. For example, being a part of Women in Computer Science, I look into other schools' Women in Computer Science clubs, and if they have any space for hiring and what type of initiatives they do, and then I try to connect what I did here with what's happening in that school. Another thing is, I did figure skating in the past, so I look into figure skating clubs of different schools I'm applying to and seeing if I also can leverage my knowledge in that aspect as well. I think there's, from what I've noticed of application essays, academic focus is important, and then it's also important to be able to show that you're multifaceted and can contribute in meaningful and different ways.
Fun fact, Irmak is a national level figure skater from
Whoa!
Turkey. I found that so cool. She has a Wikipedia page.
Oh, really?
Search her up. We have a celebrity amongst us.
Yeah!
If you want to learn more, we have Grad 101 from Wix from the mentorship program, October 22nd.
You there?
Yeah, be there, and you can talk to more CS profs and just talk a little bit about their research. So if you're trying to get into research, that's obviously an amazing
Super
way
good
to
opportunity
start. Yeah.
to talk to profs.
Yeah, I'll insert the poster. So I think the lesson really is just be curious to find out more, to learn more, to go to all the talks, and to just listen to people.
Yeah.
Talk to as many people as you can.
And reach out to
and reach
profs
out. Yeah, reach out to as many profs.
the school that you're at.
Yeah.
right now.
This was another piece of feedback I heard from existing master's students. With directed studies and the current research I have, they're not as long-term, but for master's, and that is going to be around 2 years, and for PhD, which is even longer, Jiayin was one of the people who gave me this advice as well. Like, picking your instructor is really important, and some of the things I've heard is looking into their existing master's students and how long it has taken them to complete their master's degree, past master's students, then contacting current master's students and asking questions about lab culture and how they feel about their ongoing research, and also seeing if there are like YouTube videos of the professor giving a lecture, because working styles can differ a lot, and you can tell the communication style of a professor a lot more once you like see a video of them.
Actually, a professor told me that the relationship you have with your supervisor is one of the most important relationships you can have in your life. Especially like if you do a PhD. Even I think masters, And another professor also told me that it's almost like an apprenticeship. So it's very, very different from going to a lecture and having a professor teach you.
Any last piece of advice before we show them what we made?
Like you said, like be curious, but like don't be afraid to start, because I feel like that's like the most intimidating part is like, oh my, like because the research space is so big and like starting out you don't know much, like don't be afraid to take that first step.
Yeah, and talk to people.
Like, I learned so much just from this podcast. Like, there's so much that I even did not know, having been in UBC for like 3 years.
Talk to people, even if they cannot directly help you, they can point you to the right direction. And professors are the best to talk to because they know what's going on, and they're usually, I find them super willing to help and super supportive, especially towards, I guess, minorities, because many of them, I think, are quite aware of like the gender ratio is really off.
Yeah.
UBC is really
Diverse a little bit?
becoming more,
diverse.
Because we have 2 female leaders, and I think they hired a lot of female profs.
Before I realized I wanted to do research, I had dedicated all of my time and energy into gathering industry experience, and only in my 5th year of university did I realize I wanted to do a master's. My first impression was, I'm too late. But it's not too late. For example, I have missed the deadlines to get into the honors program. The directed studies that worked out was so last minute, and like everything I have going on is in parallel to my master's degree application. So even though I have something to write there, I have no impact to show because I'll be submitting everything before I have the impact. But all of this to say, you are not late. Like any time that you can start getting into this process will work. And some people like apply with 0 research experience, 0 conference experience, and the application might seem intimidating when it's asking for publications, but I think it's take a deep breath, it'll be okay.
My advice, just do it.
Nike ambassador.
Nike ambassador. Don't hesitate, don't be scared of failures, like who cares? Don't take life too seriously, just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, we can show them what we made. This is my pizza.
I don't want to show. It's too embarrassing.
And you literally can't even see it. It's okay, wait.
My
pizza.
does not look very...
It's a margarita pizza. This is my snowman, but there's like no face.
Honors student.
Yes! The pig is so cute.
I know.
You guys were too busy answering questions. I had time to cook this up.
Kim was locked in.
I think the hole's like ruined.
It's cute. I don't know if people can even see it.
I don't want to touch it.
But yeah, thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge. And I've learned so much in like the past hour. Like it's actually insane. There's so much I did not know about. And thank you for sharing everything.
Thank you.
And for making such amazing air dry things. But yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye. Oh god, it doesn't look so long as well.